This video is entitled Supporting Decisions and goes along with Chapter 12 of BUIS 2100, our Introduction to Information Systems. I'm Jim Renault from Shawnee State University, and I'll be taking you through this video lecture. Let's start by talking about types of decisions that we make in business, in life. And the three general types of decisions are structured, semi-structured, and unstructured decisions. Let's start with the unstructured divisions. They're one time, they're unusual, they're intuition. You know, you don't have any data that goes with it, you just make a decision. Um, an unstructured decision, what am I going to wear today? Well, I've got a closet full of clothes and I don't really have a meeting to go to and I don't have any reason to dress up. So I just grab something. An unstructured decision. There are decisions that we call semi structured. Um, and a semi structured decision is well defined, but has an unstructured part. Often a forecasting decision or something of that sort is semi-structured. We have um, well, I don't know, what's for dinner. Well, that would be a semi-structured decision because it's well defined. You know what you're going to do. But it depends upon the food you have, and it depends on lots of factors that are known. It's semi-structured. And then lastly, the third type of decision is a structured decision. It's a well-defined decision that can be virtually automated or can be automated. For instance, writing checks would be a structured decision. Do we have money? Is it due? There we go. Is it a legitimate business purchase? Yes, then write the check. So you can see that that would be a structured decision. Now, decisions also fall into three kind of into this pyramid that I have over here to that side. Um, the pyramid of strategical, tactical, and operational. And I wanted to find those two because you can think of a two-dimensional matrix of structured, semi-structured, and unstructured, and strategical, tactical, and operational. Let's talk about what a strategic decision is. It's a kind of a big long term, how are we going to win, or we're going to win a war. Well, that would be a strategic. What is our general strategy for how to win the war? What are the big overriding things we're going to do to make this work? Now, a tactical decision is strategic decisions are made up of groups of tactical decisions. And tactical decisions are the decisions that are made, well, the strategy is for us to go in this direction. What are some of the things we can do to go in that direction? What are the tactics we can perform to get to the strategies? You can think in the army or in the military services, the big officers, the generals, the lieutenant, the majors, the colonels, the generals, the colonels, the admirals. The big wigs, the big guys. They're making the president. They're making the big strategic decisions. They then give the tactical decisions to the lower officers, the lieutenants and such, to actually carry out the tactics to take that mount or to take that hill or to solve that problem. And then the lieutenants will offload some of the decisions down to the people that are actually doing the work, to the sergeants and the soldiers that are under the lieutenant to actually make the operation happen. And you can think of the same in your business. Your CEO, CFO, board of directors are making strategic decisions about what the business is going to do. Your middle managers are creating the tactics to carry out those strategies. But the actual day to day operations are dependent upon you and the actual operational staff that are doing your jobs. The book talks about Simon's 4 phases for making a decision. And the 4 phases are intelligence, design, choice, and implementation. So let's look at these 4 phases in more detail. Intelligence. That's where we're gathering data about the decision we need to make. We're examining the problem. We're understanding the problem. We're discovering the problem. We're identifying the constraints. It's all about understanding and looking at alternatives at this point. We're creating intelligence about the problem. Then we design what we want to do. We create our criteria for making the decision. We often work collaboratively at this point to design maybe multiple ways to solve a problem or multiple ways to make a decision. We then make a choice of the most effective design to solve the problem or to make the decision. We may use a decision support system software or some other kind of software to help us make this final choice. And then we implement the choice, we actually do it, and verify that our decision on how to solve a problem worked. So we think, we design, we then choose the best design, and then we do it. So intelligence, design, choice, implementation. In the last slide, I mentioned using a DSS or a decision support system. Let's define what a decision support system actually is. A decision support system assists decision makers. It's a computer system, it's interactive. It really is good at semi structured and unstructured decisions and helping businesses to answer questions about those. Usually, in a decision support system, you can play what if games. Well, what if I change this? What happens to that? We can do goal seeking. What factors do I need to adjust here to get this outcome based upon our formulas or based upon our models? We can do sensitivity analysis. If we adjust this a little bit up and down, what happens over here? How sensitive is it? We can do optimizations of, well, I want to optimize this to be this, and so we'll change these until we find the most optimal solution. It's graphical most of often. It uses forecasting and simulations. You can see over here the picture over here, sorry, of the decision support system kind of contains a database of all of the company's data. It contains a data model or the model base, which contains all of the kind of formulas that connect to the data within the database used by the DSS, the various formulas used for optimization and goal seeking. And then there's a really great user interface to allow the user to play what if games or games of goal seeking with the various data. Remember that the data that we feed into our DSS is internal data from our company, operational data that we've collected, but it can also be external data from various reporting services, from the various markets, from stock markets to, weather even. What if we're working on a decision support system to decide how we're going to build a bridge? And what are we going to do and how are we going to schedule? Well, weather forecasting, weather trends, and other things can tell us when we can do certain things. So there's often internal data going into the system, but also a lot of external data goes into a good decision support system to really help us understand that semi-structured and unstructured um, decisions that it's going to help us make. So within a decision support system, we have users and designers that help to, well, use and create the decision support system. The designers are broken up into 3 general categories of designers. The first is the managerial designer, and the managerial designer understands the types and sources of data. What kind of data do we have to feed into the system? Well, that's the kind of thing management should know and know how to get that data. The internal data, the external data, they're the ones that have the data to feed in the system. They also understand the temporal nature of the data. And when I talk about temporal nature, I'm talking about the time of data. For instance, um, if we're forecasting, our forecasts are often based upon dates in the future that are based upon times and cycles of business that we've seen in the past. So the detail and time basis of the data management should know to help us design that part of the decision support system. There are always the technical people which understand the how to store that data, all of those different types of data, how to normalize those bits of data, how to connect them together, how to really store them, format them, access the data, and to secure the data in the decision support system, because there's some data that some people making decisions shouldn't see, and there's data that some people should. And then we have a model designer that's often involved in decision support system. We've got all this data, we've got it stored, we've got it formatted, we figured out the security, but what does the model do? How are the exact connections really going to happen? What are the formulas that connect this dependency and that dependency? What are the user's real needs? And how do we interpret the inputs and outputs of the decision support system? And that takes somebody that understands the data, that understands the technical, and really understands the needs of that system. That is a really difficult process, writing the models for a decision support system. But with the wrong models, you'll not get anything of any value. Garbage in, garbage out, of course. So we've talked about decision support systems. The next system I want to talk about is an executive information system, or EIS. An EIS is basically an interface between senior executives and the decision support system. It allows for easy access to the decision support system for dashboards, for reporting, um, for giving executives that high level view of what's going on to make those really high level strategic decisions. Now, an EIS is really hard to do because the specific needs of executives are hard to define. It's also hard to keep them interested, and it's hard to link the EIS to the critical needs that are in the DSS that they really need in their day to day business. Um, they're expensive and they have a really long time frame to implement, because you've got to have a solid DSS understanding. It's got to have all of the data fed to it on a regular basis, and care and feeding and good models at the lower level of the decision support system before an EIS is even possible. There's another type of system called the GIS, or Graphical Information System. A GIS is a digitized mapping and spatial relationship software. Lots of businesses use them to understand their customers. For instance, um, what percentage of population in zip codes are our customers, or how many customers do we have in each zip code? So I can see a map of the US broken down by county, for instance. And I can see, for instance, during the last election cycle, on television, you saw maps that showed a picture of the US with all of the red counties with Republicans and the blue counties with Democrats. And by looking at a map of the US with just two colors, reds and blues, you kind of got a feel for how divided the country is in a lot of ways. Um, so, a graphical information system lets us map this kind of information, um, and create spatial relationships and understand where we're coming from. They're often used for planning in education, government, urban design, and other things. For instance, if we're building uh, a public transportation system, we want to build it closer to where people live, right? And where people work, right? So by mapping that information into colors and bands and heat maps where large concentrations are one color and low concentrations are another color, we can kind of see where we need the services. Um, we can see, for instance, we regularly run graphical information systems here at the university with students and where they come from. So we can see that our students come from these counties, from these communities, from these zip codes, so we know where to put our marketing efforts or where to go and go to the high schools, because it would make no sense for us to put a billboard up in Des Moines, Iowa. Nobody would come to Shawnee State University, but to put a billboard up in Piketon probably makes sense. In fact, they're there, aren't they? So we use graphical information systems for that. They're used for insurance. One graphical information system that I've seen of insurance agents use is a map showing a community, but it shows the distance to the nearest fire station. Why does that matter? Well, if you're going to insure a home for fire, a home that is a tenth of a mile from the closest fire station is probably not going to be as badly damaged in a little fire as a home that is 5 miles from the nearest fire station. So if you were selling fire insurance, wouldn't you maybe give a discount to the house closer, or charge a higher premium to the house that's further away? Imagine a flood map. That would be something else of when the last flood was and how deep it was, shown in a graphic of a map so that you can really kind of see the trends of where things are moving. Used in marketing to figure out where your customers are, what they're buying. Used in real estate so that you can map uh, uh, value per acre, or map marginal household income or something else. And used in logistics, again, you want your warehouses close to where your customers are, or close to where your factories are, or preferably close to both. So by using these graphical information systems, you can really get a huge handle on how to make your business more efficient and increase sales, and just make everybody a lot happier. The last type of interesting business system I want to talk about today are collaboration systems. And collaboration systems allow for employees to coordinate, share, and help manage the collaboration and help manage the flow of documents and ideas between your staff. Hopefully, a good collaboration system is going to reduce costs, reduce stress, and reduce time spent doing the collaboration. Um, Now, it depends upon the group size, the geography, the project, the needs, the money, and how much support there is. But a collaboration system will often have a video, voice, file sharing, and other kind of ways to do it. A collaboration system may have a task management system in it with lists of to dos, and then who's working on what to dos. A collaboration system may also include some customer service features, so that if I have a problem with a customer service issue, I can send it to somebody who's better or the next tier up or whatever. And the great thing about a collaboration system is it allows us to work on shared documents, content, and to work together on a document. I don't know if you've ever used Google Docs, most of us have, but you can actually have multiple editors editing a single document at once. And it's a really great way to brainstorm, and if you've got multiple employees scattered in multiple locations, to open up a video chat and everybody be Brady bunching together on the screen in your little boxes, but then to have that one document where you're all editing, reading, modifying it, adding information, adding things to bullets. Um, it really is a great way to collaborate and brainstorm. So these collaboration systems exist. There are lots of them available in the book lists, several of them. This concludes the video for chapter 12, and I'd like to say thanks for watching or suffering through another one of these lecture videos. You can always contact me at jrenault@shawnee.edu if you have any questions or issues or you see any errors in this video presentation. Remember, this video was copyright or is copyright 2022 by James M. Renault, PhD. All rights are reserved under copyright. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you again